Yeah, it's just before our sunrise. Oh, then they must be a different group, because I hear these guys, they come in, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, just before our sun up, and they work the AM gray line. Man, we're supposed to get some snow tomorrow, or today. I don't know what the fuck time it is. Anyway, see you later. Nice to hear you as always, Ralph. Thanks for you. Yeah, later, Ralph. KFADD. It's really quiet out here tonight. Yeah, there hasn't been much happening at all. Where's the homo brigade? I don't, we haven't been mentioning him. Oh, alright, well, they're probably on Twitter right now. He's on! Probably so. Ay. Gotta go to hang a target on Tom. Yeah, well, I got broad shoulders, dude. But more interestingly, I heard a statement from Pat Toomey today, who said he is absolutely not going to certify the Electoral College vote next week. And then KYW News Radio suggested that there were about a dozen Republicans that are not. And I kind of wonder what the hell that means, because, the House is democratically controlled, so what's the point? Well, the debates that would ensue over that could range on until after the 20th, and there's all kinds of shit floating around. I don't know what to tell you. I'm confused about it. I hear one attorney say this, another attorney say another, and another approach here and there, and I damn if I know. I don't think anybody knows. It's what they call uncharted territory, I guess. But keep in mind that if it isn't decided, decisively, Pelosi will hold that seat until it is. Wait! I thought if somebody finds fault in an election, the date doesn't mean anything anymore because there has to be an investigation, no? I don't know. I've heard different things. True. A little different, but true. I know they're going to kick a fuss up about it, and I read an article today. Trump says they're going to haul out a whole bunch of evidence. I wish the hell they'd hauled it all out, a month ago. Well, so something of interest was that in 2018, he signed an executive order that gave him power to do whatever he wanted to do, write down martial law, on and on and on. Should there have been evidence of foreign, interaction, tampering, blah, blah, with the election? And so that can be construed a couple of different ways, because, for example, a number of the voting systems that were used cloud-based technology and sent data out of the U.S. into a foreign entity, which was then transferred from that foreign entity to yet another foreign entity repository. And so if anything were to have happened to any of that data in any of those transfers, that's technically foreign intervention, right?
Yeah, of course, the Democrats have been hollering about foreign election intervention for quite a while now. So if he would invoke that and they would, complain or object to it, he could just say, well, look, you guys were saying it.
And his executive order, I think, explicitly said something where he had a deadline of 45 days from the election.
Yeah, that's true. Something happened, Tom. There was all kinds of bull crap that was going on.
Well, if you troll the internet, it keeps coming back to this one thing, they call it a dump and roll. And these are mathematicians that put it together, and they show where the dumps occur, and then the rolls. And apparently a dump and roll is something that's been going on a long time, but I never knew anything about it, but in my ignorance to it all, I'll try to explain what happened. So in most, I don't know what you want to call them, counties or areas or whatever, they did these dumps at around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. And all of this is evidence, dude. I mean, it's all charted. There's no secret here. It's all plotted. It's all on paper. The numbers are the numbers, okay? And here they are. And so they did these dumps. And so Trump, when I went to bed that night, just like when everybody else went to bed that night, was way ahead, just about everywhere, with few exceptions. And then when we woke up the next morning, we found otherwise. And so in some places, like Pennsylvania, for example, they stopped counting for whatever reason. I guess it was break time or bedtime or lunchtime or whatever, and on and on. And this went, ping-pong back and forth between various jurisdictions. Who was going to continue counting, who wasn't. Anyway. At around 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, there were these dumps. And you could see these dumps. And they did enough data dumps, and these were the mail-in ballots, these were this ballot, these were whatever ballots they used, to bring Biden up to and slightly lead Trump. And then from that point on, all of the rest of the ballots that were counted exactly at the same percentage in each and every jurisdiction. And again, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but let me try to explain this. So if Trump was up by 47 to, I don't know what it was, 65%. They did the dump to get Biden to 47% and Trump at 65%. And then they held that, this is the roll, at that exact percentage throughout the rest of the duration of the counting. And the problem with that is, it's basically mathematically impossible to hold or have that same number or those same percentages for that amount of time and blah, 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 blah. And so there's some significant question about that shit, right? Then the stuff that went on overseas, there was a certain group, and there's a name for it, Dixon, or whatever the hell it was, of voting machines that use this cloud-based technology that sends their results to a certain place, but then those results are sent to someplace in Germany. And the systems in Germany were the systems in question that apparently we had confiscated, or so it was said. And apparently no changes were made from our voting systems to the data collection system, which I don't know if it was Denmark or so, I don't know where it was, but the changes were made when they went from wherever that initial repository was to the master servers in Germany, hence collecting the servers in Germany, because they would have the actual logs to show the discrepancy.
Yeah, I saw the timestamp graphs on all that. It's pretty interesting.
And you know, now these guys are mathematicians, right? I'm a friggin' bobo, you know. I mean, I'm lucky I can tell my ass from a hole in the ground. But I mean, these guys, you know, they laid it out, and you know, mathematically impossible is mathematically impossible. You know what I mean? It is what it is, dude. And it wasn't like it just happened here in the state of Pennsylvania. It happened everywhere. And it happened concurrently and or simultaneously. And so when you take something that is mathematically impossible in one place and find that it's occurring everywhere, you gotta wonder what the hell is going on. N3ITF.
Yep, KFADD.
Alpha Alpha 8, Oscar United.
KV3 Wireless. Said Oscar United.
AA8 something.
Yeah, Alpha Alpha 8, Oscar United. AA8OU. Name's Tony in Ohio.
Hey, Tony. Name's Jim. I'm in West Virginia, the western part.
Hello, Jim. I heard you guys talking. The question is, what are we going to do about it?
That's a damn good question.
Okay. You want my take on it? Here's what I think is going to happen. And if you haven't watched, there's a video that's on the internet about there's this woman in Yugoslavia who tries to warn the United States as to what's to come in regards to what happened in her country, which was Yugoslavia. And if you haven't watched the video, jump on the internet, Google Yugoslavian warning to America, and watch the video. And, you know, it's not anything big or great or blah, 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 but what it is uncannily, chronologically paralleling certain and various events that have been going on here that look a whole lot like what went on there. And then I'm going to sidestep this, and I'm going to come back to that. I'll circle back to this in a minute. In the meantime, there was an organization that everyone knew their name in 2016, and that was Cambridge Analytica, and no one has heard a peep out of these guys since, right? And if you don't recall or remember or know of or who or what Cambridge Analytica is, you should probably do some searching on them. And you should see what they did in the rest of the world before, as a test base, by the way, before they brought it here in 2016. Because they were alive and well in 2016. And they openly admitted to what they did to our elections in 2016. Okay, so anyway, I digress. But to come full circle, this woman in Yugoslavia who suggests that what's going on here uncannily parallels what happened over there. She talks about sparks or triggers, and she suggests that two of the sparks or triggers already occurred, and there's a third that will put us in the same position that they ended up in, which is, let's face it, we all sat on our couches watching this shit unfold in the 80s and 90s in Yugoslavia. And in my opinion, that third spark that she's talking about, that third trigger, to me, in my opinion, which is pretty humble and uneducated, and, you know, I'm pulling it out of my ass for the most part, or a can of Dab or bottle of Sam Adams or whatever I may have at the time. What I think is that at some point in the not too distant future, all the little libtards and snowflakes and fucking, you know, Dems are all of a sudden, whom, by the way, are already victims, because let's face it, they wouldn't be snowflakes if they weren't anything, are going to be found, they're going to find themselves as having been victimized. They're going to suggest that they were lied to, that none of the promises that their candidate made while they were running for president have been upheld or adhered to or are going to come to fruition. They're going to find that that nothing that, you know, that absolutely fucking nothing that they expected, anticipated, wanted, or strived is going to happen or come to fruition at any level. And that, right then and there, when the victims become victimized, is going to be the third trigger. It's going to be fucking bloody hell when they wake up and they find that their taxes are out of control, they're not getting their health care they wanted, they can't put gas in their fucking car at a reasonable price, they can't get food off the shelf, and they are going to go fucking batshit crazy, just like they did when Trump won in 2016. Only worse. And that's going to be the third trigger, because by now, or at least at this point, the majority of the silent majority is sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we're just going to coattail them and have a ball and shooting shit up, and that's my take. I think that's where we're going. And shoot you, motherfucker. I would love to find you in my sights, dude. I gotta tell you, you have no idea how much I really hate your fucking guts, you cocksucking little weasel dick fucking prick.
He's a mud duck. I can barely hear him.
That's what I think, Ralph. I think, you know, everybody thinks, you know, it's the conservatives, it's Republicans, it's the silent, you know, it's not. It's going to be them, dude. You know how these little bitches cried when Trump won? I think when they find out that they've been fucked, they're just going to freak out and just lose it. And then, you know, we're going to get a chance to do what the hell we've been wanting to do for the longest time. And you know, so it'll be our, or whatever, our segue into, you know, finally getting a grip on this shit. But in the meantime, that's what I think's going to happen. Yeah. Now, whether it's good, bad, and different, who knows? But that's the, you know, and if you didn't watch the Hugo video, then you really can't put any of what I'm saying together, and it gets a little difficult to understand what the hell I'm getting at. That was 2018, I think he signed that. He signed that executive. It was several years ago he signed.
Yeah, it was 18. Well, did y'all see what Iran did today? They announced proudly that they'd increased their uranium, what's the word on the concentration, up to 20%.
And in the meantime, Saudi Arabia decided that, Biden is not going to be too friendly to them, so they're going to dump another $75 million into lobbyists groups so that they can get their way.
Oh, and yeah, another thing that happened too. ISIS is back in the scene since I think Trump's leaving, and they killed a bunch of Syrians, bombed a bunch of shit up there.
What do you think's going to happen on the 6th?
On the 6th?
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen?
So what I'm hearing per local news outlet, so Pat Toomey is one of our state representatives, and he flat out adamantly said on microphone today that he will not recognize the Electoral College vote. And then a few hours later, the KYW News Radio, which is just a news outlet here in PA, which leans left, by the way, suggested that there are at least 8 dozen Republicans that sit with him that are not going to recognize the Electoral College vote or certify the Electoral College vote. Now,
But they need a majority in both houses.
The House,
And I don't think they're going to get it. I think it's just a roadblock, a bump in the road. So I don't think they're going to be able to do anything with that.
Well, they can't, right? Because isn't the House controlled by the Dems?
They won't even get the Senate. They won't even get a majority of the Senate, the rhinos. They won't do it.
To what point, right? Because if the House is Dem-controlled and they throw a vote to the floor, the Republicans are going to lose, right? There's another MYB go. Hey, QSL Ken, thanks for dropping in. But I understand it's going to cause a ruckus, but what's the primary objective? I mean, can anything come out of it other than just pissing people off? Weasel Dick out there, it's comical that you interjected and suggested that the Republicans are just looking for attention with the stunts that they're going to pull on the 6th. That's what you do every night, asshole. Back to who's ever next. 10-3 ITF. AC1DD.
Hello, Joe.
Hi.
KG Bob, you're not in here.
Well, he asked if anybody wanted to make a comment.